and welcome back to the Traversing Entrepreneurship podcast, a show for business owners who set out to do something different and did not stop there. This is Dall'Olmo coming to you from Traverse City, Michigan, the city that inspired the name of this show. With over 19 years of experience in the finance industry, I've heard my fair share of success as well as horror stories in business. On this podcast, I enjoy sitting down with a variety of entrepreneurs to talk about what it takes to build a successful business, including all the ups and downs that come along with doing something different and paving your own way in life. In today's episode, I'll be interviewing Eric Stopper, an e-commerce Amazon seller and investor. Join us today as we discuss his journey into his business profitable and the adventures along the way. Welcome to the show, Eric. Thanks for being here.
Hey, what's up, man? Happy to be here.
It's a good day to have a good day. So, Eric, can you give us a little bit of your backstory, kind of give our listeners a sense of how you got started and maybe what life was like before you started profitable?
Yeah. So let's see. Turning back the clock a little bit, my first business ever was a nanotechnology business designed to help pregnant women. My wife had a rough pregnancy and we developed the technology while I was in school. And I had a lot of really great help because I was in school at the time. So I had, my fair share of mentors and everything. So eventually we found out that like the women didn't want what we were offering, which is nice to have your market just be like, nah, and then you can move on.
Yeah, not going to work.
So I moved on to a buddy of mine named Ezra, who's still a very close friend, Ezra Roper, a good friend and mentor. He set me up with an Amazon marketing agency called Nozani in Linden, Utah. And I went to work there as a salesperson. Honestly, walking in, I felt like a little bit of a failure, like right away. Because I was like, man, I did this business and then I had to leave, I had to close up shop because I couldn't do it. And it took me a while to actually like snap out of that, years and years to realize that was just like a step in the journey. And so
it's all between your ears.
Totally 100%, like in the front prefrontal cortex, just producing all the cortisol for me to feel, bad about myself. But that business was eventually like merged with another large Amazon marketing agency called Buy Box Experts. And that was my venture into e-commerce and into investing and into podcasting as well. So I got like the triple threat there. Love everybody that I worked with over there. I was going through a lot while I was there at Buy Box Experts, like religious, spiritual. I was born and raised Mormon and was just having trouble with it all. Eventually they were going to sell I didn't know this. They were going to sell the company to a company called Spreetail. And they wanted me to just like play my role and not like try to expand or like elevate myself in the company.
Be a good soldier.
Yeah. And because I was running the podcast at the time and I had, all these ideas and I was, on fire. I was an entrepreneur, like stuck in a sales job. You know what I mean? So I was there for 2.5 years. And the guy who originally hired me, the owner of Nozani, who merged with Buy Box Experts, a guy named Thaddeus Hay, he's a dear friend. He was like, "Hey man, like we can like get you out of here and get you like some money to go and to your next thing." And he's like, "Think about it over the weekend, like either play soldier or like take the money and go." And I was like, "All right, I'll cash my chips out, man, for sure." It took me 3 days to decide that, just a weekend, and then. So I left that and I went to work with my buddy's Amazon marketing agency, which I look back on it now and I was a mess while I was at that company. I was a hot mess. I had left the Mormon church. I had tripped on ayahuasca like right before the transition. And then we moved. My son was having a lot of issues at the time. My wife was having a lot of issues at the time. Just all sorts of personal stuff going on. But, I kept my head down and just like while I was there at the business, I had other like side projects that I was working on. And eventually I had one of the clients at the agency ask me if I knew anybody that did Facebook ads, and we didn't at the time. So I referred that out to a friend of mine, and he left and went and worked with this functional medicine clinic for a year and came back with a really compelling case study where he had made them $5 million with like $100K in ad spend. He was like, "Man, can you bring me like 20 of these and we'll, shoot to the moon?" And I was like, "Sure. Yeah, let's do it." So there's a little bit of an overlap between those two businesses. Eventually I could quit my buddy's business, which ended terribly, to be completely honest. And I recently did a 7-day fast like a spiritual cleansing and like body cleansing thing. The fast was in line with the chakras. So each day was a different chakra. So root chakra for day 1, heart chakra for day 5, and so on. And on the heart chakra day, I wrote like a letter to my buddy that ran this marketing agency. We crushed it. We did such a good job. But to be fair, it was an apology letter. I feel like I was a total mess while I was at that organization. I remember like yelling at him and stuff, and just like bad behavior, just total like ego. And I look back on that now with fondness, right? Like I'm letting that flow down. It was instrumental to me learning and being cool headed. So anyways, went to Profitable, and that business that we started that did the advertising for functional medicine clinics, that's what Profitable became. And there were 4 partners, right, including myself, the original guy, his like mentor, advertising guru, and then this other dude who I didn't know from Adam, a guy named Phil Murphy. And eventually the original guy that I referred the deal that I referred him to didn't realize that he was starting an agency, and found out about it. And we thought that he had told him. So he tripped out. He freaked out and was like, I'm going to sue you. I'll take all your money. You're using our secrets to like help other clients, but you did a great job and we would like to keep you. So sign this non-compete right now and come be our exclusive Facebook advertising vendor. And we were like, screw him. Like he's got, whatever. And he took the deal, man, and bounced, took the other partner with him. So he left me and Phil. We barely know each other. We had met one time. He's up in Dallas. I'm down in San Antonio. So, anyways, I'm now in this business with this guy that I don't know. And, we're trying to fulfill for these clients. We had 7 of the 10 largest, testosterone replacement and, peptide companies in the United States, like Tony Robbins' company, Life Force, right? Like, I went out and crushed it. I knew exactly how to do the thing. So I went and did the thing and got the clients. And then like, man, it burned down. It burnt to a crisp. To be fair, like we got some good results for people. And 2023 was weird because Facebook changed a lot of their rules, like weight loss.
Yeah.
Dude, all of our ads were too skinny, too fat, too gay, too straight. Like you just couldn't get it right. So cost per acquisition skyrocketed. And we were just trying to make it work. In the meantime, I was working other jobs, trying to make the dream happen, and some consulting gigs. And I had so ironically enough, so check this out. This is gonna blow your mind. 2024, that original partner left the company that had the non-compete thing happen. Left him because he wanted to get paid more. I don't know. And started a company doing automated Amazon stores. So you like set up a wholesaling shop and you run it. That's why it's automated. So you have like a managed service for running your own Amazon store where you buy wholesale products and resell them on existing Amazon listings for a profit.
Okay.
He came to me, he was like, dude, you're the GOAT at Amazon and you're really good at sales. Like, come over into this company while like Profitable suffers and help me bring this to life. And we did millions of dollars in like 8 months. We crushed it. And then on October 22nd, we all got cease and desist letters from the Federal Trade Commission. And what had happened was they hired this contractor to help with fulfillment, this guy named Stephen Mayer. And screw Stephen Mayer. If you're listening to this, Stephen Mayer, screw you. Like, he'd been screwing people for years. And it was kind of like a Bernie Madoff situation where like he had done a good job for a bunch of people and then he did a not so good job for enough people that he had to close down his business and he started up a new one. So anyways, 2024, I'm half operating Profitable and I'm like 3/4 operating as an employee of Profitable Automation, as a contractor of Profitable Automation. That's the name of this Amazon company. And we get these letters from the FTC. And at first we're all like, what? They think that we are Stephen Mayer's latest scam. And so the lawyers and everybody's like, this is ridiculous. Like, we even made a public announcement that we fired Stephen Mayer and brought the fulfillment in-house in August. So anyways, fast forward 5 days and they seized all of the assets of the business, seized all of the business owners, like the main guy my buddy's assets and like shut everybody out of the business, got a judge to agree with them. Dude, it was a freaking nightmare. It was such a nightmare.
Wow.
So it's like my birthday in November, and I'm like walking around my block with a 6-month-old little baby, and I'm on the phone with all of our clients, like trying to explain what's going on. Dude, it like I wouldn't wish that experience on my worst enemies. So anyways,
How does one exit that? I mean, how do you get out of there?
I think thankfully, like the guy who started it, like took all of took the whole fat schlong of the FTC, like straight up his coccyx, like just
Just
so bad.
no lube, just
Tied him to the radiator, just had their way with him. Exactly right. So, amen, hallelujah. Thank you, right, for playing that role in the whole thing, my dear friend. And anyways, in the course of all this happening, Profitable lost a lot of its clients. But we had over the time, what we had gotten really good at is, you've got like a database of leads that you need to reactivate. Like, we have these chatbots that we can deploy. And then we started getting better and better and better at AI. So now today, fast forward, right? We're in June of 2025. We've got it's a CRM that we sell now. That was the thing. We looked at all the stuff, our best assets. We were like, oh, let's get people this great CRM with all these awesome templates and systems and etc. And let's provide services a la carte when people need them. So you got the CRM, it's great. You do it yourself, $97, good to go. Oh, you need a landing page? $100. You need a website? $500. You need an email campaign? You want us to run it for you? $500. So yeah, instead of like, here's $5,000 retainer plus percentage of ad spend, which is pretty typical, or a percentage of all sales or whatever, we could just all
ad hoc services. Yeah.
Ad hoc. So the business at its base is a CRM, and we've now built it into and what's cool is that, like, if you have a Go High Level CRM, you can literally add the button. So like white label partners can add our a la carte button to their system, and their clients can come through and purchase done for you services without us actually even having to provide the system to them. It's really pretty incredible.
Basically, like I have a Go High Level,
As you should.
It's like, okay, that's what all my LSA stuff, my Google local service ads is run through, right? It's all run through Go High Level, and it's, boom, boom, boom. So that's where I track everything for that specifically. It's not my main CRM for the businesses, but it's like, I'll call it the lead tracking, or the, lead conversion and tracking.
What's the main one that you use for your business? I'm curious.
Well, it's currently it's Wealthbox, but it might transition over to Go High Level. We'll see.
I would transition into Go High Level.
Yeah.
Here's my pitch. You're probably using one that's like specific for financial services, right? Something like that.
It was supposed to be, but it's, at the end of the day, let's say CRMs are the same. When you put in a CRM now that has integrations with things like you're talking about, it's not a CRM anymore.
Yeah.
Here's
my elevator pitch. Here's why. Screw all the other little like systems out there that are niche, and screw HubSpot and Zoho and Salesforce. So here's my elevator pitch. I consider myself a black belt at HubSpot. That's what I was raised on. That's what all the agencies use. I even like sold it for a while. Well, yeah, if you look at the forums of HubSpot, it's like, hey, this would be a nice feature to add 2021. And then like 2022, hey, have they added this feature yet? 2023, have they added this feature yet? Hey, 2025, still here. They just they're myopic. They focus on their roadmap. Go High Level, their developers are a bunch of thieves. They're thieves. They stole Calendly. They stole Kajabi. They stole, there's a community tool. I can't remember the name of it. But they're just they just look at the code and they're like, cool, we can replicate this and make enough
Yeah.
changes where it's better. So they're building these better mousetraps inside of their system. And so if I'm gonna bet on the horse, I'm gonna bet on the one that is like stealing all the best
Den of
all the
thieves,
best
you know?
horses. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyways, for anybody that's listening and they're looking for a CRM, come to us. $97. We'll get you a freaking incredible system. That's better than Go High Level. We have better support than them. We have better templates than them. They don't want to play that game. They just provide the system and keep stealing. And that's like
Yeah.
our benefit.
You keep providing the better mousetraps based on the Go High Level chassis. And it's amazing the differences, because I've only had a Go High Level account probably 6 months.
Mm.
And I have Calendly. I have all those things in addition from from how I built it from years past. And I'm like, I don't even need Calendly anymore. I don't even need all these,
You don't need
like
DocuSign. You don't
my
need,
phone system,
yeah, you
right?
don't need phone system.
It's like, okay, I want a new phone number. Boom. It's, $2.
Yeah. $1.21.
And boom. It's like, all right, I've got a phone number now that I can have, specific to LSA. Boom. All right. I know anything that comes through that number is from my LSA ads, or from any other, campaign that you run. And Go High Level captures it all. Or, the Go High Level chat, it's not a Go High, it's somewhat similar to yours. It's based on a Go High Level chassis, but it's white labeled for somebody else.
Yeah. So that's the journey. I skipped over a lot of things. I mean, the world that we're in now is I can spin up any business and I can build every element of it using AI now. So we have this pet redheaded stepchild business called Legendary Items. We produce diamonds out of cremated ashes of people who have passed. And we set those diamonds into legendary heirloom items like swords and knives and jewelry and stuff like that. And I was, I was kicking it down I wasn't really doing a lot with it. It was just an idea. And just 2 days ago, I went to our AI builder and I was like, build me a website and like a tracking system for the builds. And like, if somebody comes in, link them up with one of these vendors to actually make a mock-up and then send out the production. The whole thing took me 25 minutes and the business is like up and running. Legendary Items is ready to launch. And it was like, I was dragging my feet for 2.5 years and I was able to bring it to life inside of our business in less than a
half hour.
Yeah. So
wild.
that's where we're at right now. Yeah. That's the beautiful. So if somebody, even if they like have a business idea and they want to bring it to life, like we got a guy that is renting the tops of storage facilities for solar panels. So there's like a government element to it, right? There's tax credits available for it, maybe, right? There's some switch ups that are happening in that industry.
Maybe not at the end of this year. We'll see.
Yeah, putting it on the top of like chicken coops and stuff for rural farmers, helping them get carbon credits too. There's just like,
Sure.
So, he had this idea. He came to us and we were like, yeah, we can brand it for you. We build the whole thing, like help you understand the flow and done. Like easy offer. Let's make it happen.
30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the story, man. That's me in a nutshell.
So it sounds like, you've transitioned from, let's call it, Amazon fulfillment, Amazon stores, to basically AI built business launches and tracking systems.
I'll tell you what the thesis is right now. It's all freedom. How do you create more freedom? Right now, I spend my whole morning until about noon every day playing with my kids. That's all I'm doing. I have a 14-month-old and I get to wake up with him. My wife's a full-time student right now, so she's just like on the grind. So I get to wake up with them and just like bugger off the whole day and like just like have fun. And then when it's time to work, I can just like get in my office and most of my time is spent podcasting. Okay. That is only possible because of all these systems. And so we still have an Amazon like element that we can do. I've got like the team, as you can imagine, like when that business went down, the only person that actually went down was the owner. So everybody was like, hey, like, what are we going to do? So our first step was like, how do we serve all these clients? Like, can we still help these people? And the FTC was very much like, yeah, like we got our guy kind of thing. And so I still do Amazon, still sell on Amazon. I've got 5 brands of my own, technically 3 because COVID killed one of my manufacturers. So I got to get a new manufacturer. But I've got a $27,000 mold, injection mold in a warehouse somewhere from a liquidated, the company went out of business. And then I launched an ice bath business in 2024 as well,
All
which
right.
was so foolish. Shouldn't have done it. I should have purchased an ice bath, but instead, we invested in a bunch of ice baths, shipped them into the United States before all the tariffs hit, and we sold them. It was a quick project, but after it was all said and done, we were like, man, this is a nightmare. So we still do Amazon, and so if somebody wants to set up an Amazon shop, I'll show them how, or I'll do it for them. If somebody wants to buy a business, we have a business that helps you buy businesses called cashflowingassets.com. So I've got a whole team over there that teaches you how. It's first is financial literacy, financial education, and then educating people on what it means to have a cash flowing asset. And then Profitable creates a system to make your business into a cash flowing asset. Yeah. So it's all for freedom's sake, right? That's the word of the day. And we can do that for any business now. We're agnostic. Doesn't have to be coaching, doesn't have to be consulting, doesn't have to be software, doesn't have to be services. Just if you have something that you need done over and over and over again the right way with a little bit of, a pinch of dynamic change to it, then give it to us and we'll make it happen.
It sounds like, it's so, in our whole, let's say, working careers, right? You're trading time for money. And now you're giving people the vehicle to trade money for cash flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
In whatever vehicle that they want. It may work, it may not, but you've at least given them the, the vehicle or the launching pad to say, okay, I've got this, $5,000, $10,000, whatever the dollar is to put towards XYZ idea that I have. How do I turn this into a cash flowing asset? So I'm trading now money for cash flow. That's absurdly powerful. I did that in January, actually. Became part owner of a 30-year restaurant, which, if you know restaurants, most of them operate on single-digit profit margins. This one was about 20 to 22% net for the last 15 years of things that I saw. I was like, okay, here's my chance to, a silent partner. I have veto power, but I don't have operational control, that type of thing, right? Yeah. So it's like, okay, now I traded a check for a double-digit percentage ownership of this business that I look at the numbers, to make sure that, ratios are where we want them to be. But at the same time, I'm sitting back and collecting a check when it's all said and done, right? It's like, okay, I know I should be getting a check of XYZ ballpark per year. It'll be lower this year just because it's our first year as operators, but and we have a triple net lease, which if you ever have a triple net lease, get the hell out of it. They suck. I hate them. I hate them. They're terrible, but that's what landlords always want because it maintains their profitability at the highest level. It's like the tenant pays for everything. So we've had to replace piping, HVAC systems, all these things. And you're like, okay, now we've got 6 figures out in 5 months of stuff. But over the next 20 years, I'm going to make my money back, probably hundreds of times over. And, by not having by having a cash flowing asset, I guess is my point. Value asset, which I look at as an asset. It's a cash flow asset, and boom, boom, boom. I have my partner who runs it, and he has been the general manager for 17 years, so he knows everything about the business and has run it for the last 17 years. So it's like, okay, boom, we fit things inside these boxes. We can even raise profitability by a couple of percentage points here and there. It's wild.
Yeah, and I think one of the common misconceptions that people have is I just need I need to make more money on my W-2 job or my 1099 job. And financial freedom is the classical textbook equation for financial freedom is when your cash flow is greater than your monthly living expenses. And so cash flow isn't W-2.
No.
right? Cash flow is your profits, essentially. It's expressed as an equation, right? Your free cash flow is equal to your cash inflow minus your cash outflow. So that whole equation equals cash flow. And so if somebody's looking at like, how do I become financially free? This is the classic example that I give is you can go and buy an Airstream trailer, like a RV for a glamping Airbnb, like 50K, let's say, you get a brand new one. If you finance it for 0% interest for a year, you're going to pay $500 a month. You're going to pay 10% of any revenues that you produce to the landowner, to a management company, and then you're going to pay like 20% in taxes and fees. So if I can rent at a 60% occupancy rate at $200 a night in Austin, Texas, I put my RV out on this land, I list it for rent, and I'm gonna 60% occupancy rate on a 30-day run is $4,000 in revenue. Well, then I have $2,000 in expenses, so I have $2,000 in cash flow. If your monthly living expenses are $5,000, that means that you are 3 Airbnb trailers, Airstreams away from financial freedom. So when I'm able to put that in front of people and help them realize that's entrepreneurship, like that's financial freedom, then the lights click on and it's like, what am I doing? Okay, I gotta improve my credit so I can get access to debt financing so that I can go and buy this thing. And I got to get with a mentor who can actually help me put it together. Or I got to get really serious about watching YouTube, and I got to ditch Netflix and cancel my Xbox subscription for 6 months so I can take it seriously, because it's not that far out of reach. There's a lot of people, if you've got an 800 credit score, you could go get $150,000 in financing right now, buy 3 Airstream trailers, and you're done. And there's companies that will do it for you. So it's an ATM business, vending machine business.
Machines.
It's
storage
there's
units.
So much stuff. There's 100. One thing that we figured out recently is I've been able to identify distressed properties at the county level. It's okay, I'm gonna voice AI drop a message to everybody that's in foreclosure and be like, hey, let me get you out from under this, and I'm gonna sell those contracts over to a network of buyers that any one of these real estate companies out here already has. Just search for realtor in your area. You probably find a bunch of people who will buy them. So
absolutely,
there's so much possibility out there. I tend to get distracted. It's one thing that I've worked a lot on. Other podcasts that I've been on, I've realized that my toxic trait is that I've got shiny object syndrome. And so the last little bit has been just focusing on profitable and building that to where we all know that it can be. So we want to help 1,000 people automate their businesses, generate double the amount of profits in half the amount of time. That's the thesis of the company. That's what we're trying to accomplish. That's our mission.
Which is spectacular. Because anytime that you can say, all right, I can help you earn more. So it's funny. At the closing, I'll tell you, earn more, be more efficient, and pay as little in taxes as legally possible, right? It's if you can double the amount of revenue in half the amount of time, who wouldn't do that? It sells itself, right? It's okay, how do I work less, earn more, and have? So, you talked about financially free. It's what is it about? Yeah, here's what the numbers in the equations say. What is it really about? Time. Taking your time to do the things that you want to do. You said you wake up every morning, with your 14-month-old, and you hang around with them until it's time to, do the work. That's what you're really financially free with, is to have the ability to say, all right, every morning I can wake up with my son and do X, Y, Z all this time.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Absolutely.
So, do you know who Jack Canfield is?
Yes.
He's an author. He's 83 now or something like that. He's been at it for a while, but he has this meditation that I would encourage everybody to go and do. You can go look it up on YouTube, or if you go to successprinciples.com/resources, there's I think it's one of the second or third trainings. It's a life purpose meditation. You sit down, you reserve 20, 30 minutes for yourself, and you relax your body first, and then you relax your mind, and then he projects you into this field. And then at the base of this mountain, you get on this magic carpet and you ride up to the top of this mountain. And on the top of the mountain, there's this temple, and you go into the temple, and then there's this light coming down from the windows in the temple, and there's this angelic being that comes down, and it gives you a box, and you take the box and you open the box and you reach in the box and you pull out the thing. And what happens is what he's doing is he's getting your subconscious to serve something up for you. It's like, oh, what's in the box? The idea is that it is what you're supposed to be working on, like what your purpose is. So I did this meditation and I pulled out a little stuffed animal, and that surprised me, like in a big way. I was expecting to pull out like a robot or email, or I don't know, something businessy. And I pulled out a little death crystal, is what we call them at Legendary Items. So those are two items: is a stuffed animal and a death crystal. And in the meditation, it's like, if you're confused about what you pulled out of the box, go ahead and ask the being that gave it to you. So in the vision, I hold up these things to him, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I know what the crystal's about, but like, tell me about this stuffed animal. And the being was like, you know what it's about. Like, it's about your kids, man. Like, you've got, 1,000 hours of podcast interviews, and in like 20 or 30% of them where you're interviewing people over the age of 70, they're telling you, I wish I would have spent more time with my kids. Right? Like, fuck work. I don't care about any of the stuff that I've done. Like, I'm happy that I spent time with my kids, or I'm sad that I didn't spend enough time with my kids.
Yep. You hear that a lot.
Bumping around in my brain all day, and, like tragedy after tragedy and failure after failure. And it's just become so clear to me what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And that's building $1 billion relationship with my kids, with the boys. And that's, it's been a mindset shift, because I was like 60, 70-hour weeks, sometimes more, just trying to push it, trying to crush it. And I had to ease off the gas quite a bit and own that role. So like working part-time, and I'm the only one working right now. I was a full-time student, and just like trusting that it's all going to be fine. It's been tough, but that was served up to me by this, vision being. And so I'd encourage anybody that's like struggling with what they want to do to go and hit that meditation, because it will clarify things real quick for you.
Yeah, it's like, I own a copy of the Success Principles, and, Jack Canfield, he's got a lot of books. If I was going to suggest one, the Success Principles would be the one to read.
Agreed.
He's got a lot of them, but at the same time, that one's probably the one with the most, let's call it meat on the bone, the most stuff that you can actually say, all right, I read this, I digest it, and I can do it. As opposed to, yeah, that's a good idea, but I have no way to implement that. So yeah, I'm not a meditation guy. I've never done the meditation, but at the same time, more power to you if you've got more so the willpower to go through it. I don't. I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm going to do something else. Hats off to you for doing it.
Derek, we should for sure do mushrooms together. I mean, meditation has changed my life at 10 different junctures.
Sure.
It's one of the things that made me leave the Mormon church was I opened my chakras in 2015, and that just like changed my perspective of everything. And so, yeah, if it doesn't work for you though, like everybody has their thing. There is flow to be found in all of the things that you enjoy.
Absolutely.
You don't necessarily have to sit there quietly and breathe in order to get it. Sometimes you just need to be playing with your kids, or on a walk, or sometimes, like, I interviewed a musician on the podcast a couple of days ago, and he hits that meditative vibe when he's just riffing on the guitar. That's a form of meditation. So to each their own, but you should do mushrooms.
Mushrooms are cool. Yeah.
And the Jack Canfield meditation was really powerful.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I played golf last year, I believe, last May, with Ken Casey, who is the founder of the Dropkick Murphys, right? And big Irish kind of rock band, whatever. Talking to him for, 3 or 4 hours was really eye-opening, because guy doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs. But you would think, being a world tour headlining band, that was the lifestyle. He's like, no, it's all about, find exactly what you just said. What is yours? And he's like, mine is on stage, bringing a crowd to life. It's like that's his thing. For his guitarist, it's riffing on the guitar. For his drummer, it's finding a new beat in the same song during a concert.
Yeah.
It's wild. All those guys, none of them. I can't say all of them, but they don't abuse psychedelics. They don't abuse alcohol. Maybe some of them, I don't know, but
Not him.
not him.
Yeah.
And he's the headliner, right? So you're like, okay, that's what they're following. And it was a pretty cool experience, just to a guy who's got who's known around the world by his name and his band. And it's just like, this is what makes me, and it's other people basically, right? So, that crowd that he sees in front of him coming to life by what he's doing is, his magic carpet ride, right? So it's wild to me though, that like, okay, maybe he did at one point, drink, do drugs, whatever, and who knows, maybe he did the meditation and it took him to that spot. I don't know, but
Maybe the genie in the temple gave him a guitar, handed that down when he was young. Some people find it early, they find their passion early. And, at this, now that we have all these like tools available to us, the thing that is on my mind is like the gamification of things. And so, right, like I have this list of everything that I feel like I've accomplished in my life. And if you haven't done this, I would recommend it 10 out of 10. Everything from like learning to ride a bike to winning your first award or like buying a house, anything that's like achievement worthy, go far. And what ends up happening is you start to see like, oh, first of all, I've got a lot of stuff done, like pretty cool. Like I've lived a wonderful life. You get real grateful all of a sudden. And then you start thinking about like, what else? What else is possible out there? Like, what are the things that I haven't done that I feel like I should do? So on my list is a children's book, right? So I've got it written. I now have to illustrate it. And
okay.
I'm kicking my ass trying to make it happen. Do I do AI? Do I actually like finger to, like put the pencils on the paper and do it? Do I hire someone, right? Do I want it to be, written and illustrated by Eric Stopper? I don't know. Well, I'm figuring that stuff out. And then like doctor, PhD is on the horizon. That's like a huge one for me. But I get to like look at my life. I grew up playing Diablo and World of Warcraft.
Oh, yeah.
And in those games, you have a class that you choose. And then within each of those classes is like a subclass. So you can be, like a disciplined priest or like a marksman hunter versus like a what do you call it? Like an animal tamer hunter. So you like choose your own classes and you get different stats for what you do. So now I'm looking at like, how do I choose my own class, right? How do I choose my own adventure? And there's some people who have tried to create little like hero apps for completing things in real life. And they're not super impressive. They're not quite where I want them to be. But now I just have ChatGPT holding me accountable for different things that I'm trying to accomplish. And I've got all these plans that are in place and they end up making their way into my Notion calendar. And it's those types of things that keep life really interesting. I'm the type of person that is super neurotic and just I always got to be doing something, and I feel everything really intensely and everything's so passionate and so important to me, right? So that's my trip. That's my ego trip to have in this life. And so I wrote a haiku as my life purpose. And that's something I've been working on for months is like, what am I about? What's the point of all this? And the haiku is life is just a game. You are here to level up. Do it for the plot. And I write it down every day because I'm thinking like, what is the plot of my story? What is this character known as Eric Stopper going to do and going to be? And what are the monsters that he's going to destroy and the dungeons that he's going to raid and the loot that he's going to acquire and the armor that he's going to build for himself, the guild, right, that I want to be a part of. So it's a super nerdy way of saying, I'm focused on self-actualization and I'm trying to help other people get there as well. And it didn't come easy. You know, I've been messed up. I've had mental health problems. I've, just done so many things wrong, but it's starting to refine itself. And I know I had to go through those things, and I can see the grand picture. And it's funny. So I have this, my wife was the model for the cover of, she's in this gorgeous painting done by Jenny Page called Coming Full Circle. And it's about like losing God and coming back to God. And God, that like charges people a lot. They're like, ugh, I don't want to hear about it. If you're like not religious, you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because the concept, the noise that you make with your face to convey an idea has been conflated with thousands of these religious institutions. So the God that I grew up with was this like white tan Jesus God. It was like Jesus in the sky type of thing. And Mormons believe that you're gonna, eventually be a god and like be raised and elevated and be able to create planets and stuff. So that's what I grew up with. So I had to undo all of that. And just recently, like, I'm coming back to the concept. I'm coming full circle. That's the title of the painting. And so I've been like dedicating myself and like giving it to God, so to speak, and just like praying and things that I never thought that I would ever do again. And I keep getting these little breadcrumb, like this little trail letting me know that I'm on the right path. And it's the stupidest stuff, man. And so people who are listening are like, man, this is a joke. But I was looking for, we packed up our stuff. We were going to move, and then we decided not to. And we had a vision board, but we took the vision board down because we were going to show the house, right? So I put all the little papers in this little packet, and I packed it in a box somewhere. And I kept thinking I knew where it was. And I tried to find it yesterday because we were going to rebuild our vision board as a family. And literally, I was in my room. I was like, man, I could have sworn it was right here. And I was like, all right. So I knelt down on the ground and said like my first prayer in years, like my first real prayer. I was like, God, just help me find this thing. And the impression that I had was like, and I had already checked the shed in the box that I was expecting it to be in, and it wasn't there. And it was like, go back to the shed. So I was like, all right, no, like can't be that. So I like look around the house, and I look at like a dozen different places, and I'm like, man, okay. Go back into the shed, pull out all the stuff more meticulously. Sure enough, there it is. And that's such a silly example, but there it is. Just this little like either the alignment of my intention and the act of like falling to the knees and like relaxing and like trying to get my mind in, either that helped me find that insight, knowing that it's in that spot, or there's something real mystical and magical about the universe that we live in. And so if you tune into my podcast, Pulse Ox, I interview entrepreneurs on their stories of self-discovery and self-actualization. And so I have heard some of the most far out stories that you'll ever hear. We had Dr. Hanul Bandari on the show. He's a local neurologist here in San Antonio. And he tells a story about how when he was applying to his residency in Houston, he was on the 15th floor of this big hospital, and it was late, in the early evening, and he was going to use the elevator, and this janitor comes up and slaps a handwritten note that says "do not use" on the elevator, and he's like, you got to take the stairs. And he's like, oh, it's 15 flights, and he's like, you can't use these stairs. And this feeling came over him, and he was like, sure, fine. So he goes walk down the stairs. He gets like 3 stories from the bottom, and the elevator, sure enough, screams to the bottom, crashes on the floor, destroys the whole lobby. He runs down, sees it, runs back up the 15 flights of stairs. There's no note. There's no janitor. There's no record of a janitor. He checks the video. There's no video of a janitor. This like entity thing, hallucination, saved his life. So life's pretty groovy, man. This is like business is cool, but this is all the stuff that I'm into right now. And what's cool is that I get to interview all these entrepreneurs who are really good at storytelling. And I've crafted together this like really far out like cross section of experiences that people have come through. So the journey, the traversing that I've done in the business has really just been a process of self discovery and like spiritual discovery for myself. So,
I don't know if you purpose or not, the traversing side. That
oh,
was
that was
really
on
good.
every morning when I walk my son, I say, let's go traverse the wilds. And so it's a key word in our life.
Well, the show is Traversing
Oh yeah,
Entrepreneurship, right? So it was like,
oh yeah.
all right, great little segue there. So you've had I mean, we're both relatively young. You've had an unbelievable number of experiences, both positive and negative, in your business career. And it seems to be all put in perspective, I guess I would say, by your ability to turn inward. And I mean, every time you said, the FTC showed up at the door or, gave cease and desist and seized assets, and you're like, okay, you turned inward and we're like, okay, how do we make this work? Other agency, burned to the ground, like you said. Uh, okay, what did you do? You turned, excuse me, tickle in my throat, turned inward, and said, okay, what do I do? This is probably the first interview over the past 50 that have been very self-reflective as opposed to you looked outwardly for something or, looked for somebody else to help. You looked to yourself and, what can you control? Because I mean, I preach that all the time, do what you can what you can control and the rest will fall into place. You're, I think, the first person that has actually done all of that himself.
Thank you. I want to be absolutely clear though. I have, I have stressed so much. I am a stress machine, man. All of this meditation stuff that I have to do is because my body just loves cortisol. God, it just loves it. Yummy, yummy cortisol. So good. That's my body all the time. Yeah, just give me more. So I've had to I mean, thank goodness for serotonin neuro reuptake inhibitor medication. You know what I mean? Like if you feel things very intensely and you find yourself overproducing cortisol, like go and get on an
That's just
SMRI
that's how
because that has helped in a huge way. But then it's like if I can interrupt the those cycles, then I'm going to be in a much better place and I can deal with the things. If I can just separate myself from them and relax my body. But man, it has not been easy. It has been enormously difficult. When the FTC thing happened, I was I was like crying and stuff, just like beside myself, waking up, panic attacks, like what the heck is going to happen? All of our employees, all of our people, my friend, right? Like um, and there's one lesson that has been burned into my mind when we were living in Utah, where I left the house to go on a walk, and I was pissed off. I think I was mad at my wife at the time. Actually, we had just issues with our kid, and I was mad, and I wanted to like go blow off steam. So I called my brother, and my brother's 5 years older than me, and we were never really super close because he's like in college by the time I'm still in like middle school. He's a cop, so that tells you like a lot about him, and he's like a very happy cop. You know what I mean? Just like everything's black and white. Ugh. Anyways, so I call him and I tell him what's going on, and he's like, "Hey, are you like walking around the neighborhood?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Did you bring your dog?" And I go, "No." And he said, "What is wrong with you? Like, walk your dog. Like, why wouldn't you just go? Like, why wouldn't you walk around the neighborhood with your dog?" It was this small little kernel of wisdom that he fed me that was like, you got to do the basic stuff right. If you're going to leave the house on a walk, take the animal that you're responsible for taking care of. At the very least, check off those little boxes, right? And make so like if you're feeling stressed, go and do the dishes and like get that out of the way, clean the house, clean up your messes, right? Finish the stuff that you started. Get that crap off your plate, because then it's much easier once you've zenned out and like completed all the projects. It's much easier for you to look inward and be like, okay, like how am I feeling right now? And I didn't realize that lesson really fully until the last like year or so. But in that moment, it struck me real hard. Like, oh, okay, I got to do the basic stuff right. So I'll leave you with that story. That was that's the last one for me.
It's wild, and it's almost like apropos, right? Like as you're telling that story, I'm assuming either your wife or your nanny and child were like you could see them in the window behind you.
Yeah.
Your kid was standing there, like in the little sliver between the curtain and the wall. It was like, I mean, what perfect timing, right?
He wants me to go play squirt guns so bad. But he needs to go hang out with his mom for sure. He's been not so nice to her, and I need him to go and have a great relationship with her as well. And it's summer. You know what I mean? It's like we're 4 days into summer now, and it's been it's a whole new every season, man, is different. And I've had to become really comfortable with change and just kind of like riding with it. And that
Be
has made
comfortable being uncomfortable.
pretty groovy. Yeah, you've got to be. And have if I could recommend one book, as it would be Atomic Habits, by James Clear. And you got to write that stuff out. Like, when I feel stressed, I go do this. When I wake up in the morning, I do this. When I am cooking meals, I do this, right? So like all of the things that don't often change, you have consistency in those things, so that when your company is shut down by the FTC, or Facebook changes their algorithm and screws your agency into the nether realm, and then your target market doesn't like the product that you spent hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars to produce, you can just be like, all right, next.
Next. Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, well, we usually end every episode by, having our guests leave a message to our listeners. It can be, discussing what you care about, promoting promoting, legacy things. It's really your time to have the floor, to be, whether it's advice to entrepreneurs, it's your time to have, a few minutes to kind of give our listeners a little bit extra of what Eric Stopper has to offer. So I guess this is your time to just kind of take it away.
Yeah, thanks, man. On the business side, come and talk to me about your system, about your offer, about your product. Let me automate it. Right? Odds are you need to be working a lot less on things that you enjoy, and I can help you do that. So that's the first thing, is just like sit with me, free strategy sessions all day and night. I'll even give you free stuff, free leads, free like templates, whatever. Bring it on. If you're listening to this podcast and you've got a business and you want to like automate it and use AI, I'm your guy. Let me help. From a promotional standpoint, I've got the 7-day Zealot challenge. It's the 7-day fast on my LinkedIn. Go and check it out. It's free. In fact, it's even cheaper than your week was going to be, because you're not going to eat any food, and you will be spiritually nourished by the end of it. There's a whole guide on how to do it. There's guided meditations and a whole thing. So go and check that out. The Zealot Health Challenge on my LinkedIn. And then I think the last thing that I want to share is I think it's a quote from Sin Ming. So I want to say that he's a Han Dynasty philosopher. And it says, "The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences." Right? The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. And that's to say, like, change, being comfortable with change and just being okay with it, and being able to be the observer of this incarnation of yourself and realizing like everything up to this point in my life has worked out just fine. And I have no evidence to suggest that anything is going to be different than that. And to just like let all of your preconceived notions about how you think things should be going, let those flow down the creek. The moment that you find yourself thinking like, oh, it's just so unfair that this thing is happening to me, fold that into a little origami ship and put it in the creek and just let it flow. So I'll leave you at that.
As the kids would say nowadays, yeet it out the window. You just yeet it out the window. So how can our listeners find out more about, Profitable? About what was the legacy name?
Legendary items, yeah.
Legendary items. How can our listeners find out?
All my stuff is pretty easy to find. LinkedIn is the best place to find me. Eric Stopper. I think I'm the only one. And then profitable.com. I'm assuming that the name of it's going to be in the show notes, but it's profit like money, the letter I, and then the animal bull.com, legendaryitems.com, and zealothealth.com are the businesses that I'm involved with. Yep.
All right. Well, as you know, my name is Dall'Olmo. I'm the owner of both Tramonti Financial Consultants and Tramonti Tax Solutions, together referred to as Tramonti. Tramonti bridges the gap between financial advisors and accountants by serving as CFO to our clients. We specifically love to work with business owners to develop a proactive tax strategy that maximizes after-tax profits. It's our job to help you earn more, be more efficient, and pay as little in taxes as legally possible. If this idea piques your interest, please go to TramontiTax.com and click on the Schedule Now button to book a 15-minute chat with me. Whether we end up working together or not, I'd love to hear from you. With all that said, Eric, it was really good talking to you today. Thanks for being here. For those listening, if you enjoyed today's episode and had a few helpful takeaways, we'd love for you to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and share this episode with other business-minded friends. This has been another episode of the Traversing Entrepreneurship podcast. We had fun today and hope you did too. Thanks again, Eric, for being here, and thank you for tuning in and listening. Peace.
This podcast is presented by Tramonti Financial Consultants, LLC. The firm is registered as an investment advisor and only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor does not constitute an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill or ability. The information presented is believed to be current. It should not be viewed as personalized investment advice. All expressions of opinion reflect the judgment of the presenter on the date of the podcast and are subject to change. You should consult with a professional advisor before implementing any of the strategies discussed. Content should not be viewed as an offer to buy or sell any of the securities mentioned or as legal or tax advice. Always consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation. Different types of investments involve higher and lower levels of risk. There is no guarantee that a specific investment or strategy will be suitable or profitable for an investor's portfolio. There are no assurances that a portfolio will match or exceed any particular benchmark. All investment strategies can result in profit or loss.